If you want to learn more about American liberty through the context of American history, go to my friends over at patriotpost.us, sign up today, and download your free copy of the Patriots Primer on American liberty through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Democrats in the Senate blocking the economic stimulus bill that we desperately need right now as Americans due to this whole virus situation. Now, if you don't quite know what's going on, let me back up a little bit here first before I get into what the Democrats did and why. Now, we've all seen this virus wreaking havoc all over the globe. It started in China, obviously, it wreaked havoc there, and then it spread from China to everywhere else on the planet, mostly Europe. I think South Korea got hit pretty hard. The United States, obviously, we're being hit right now. It shut down entire economies. People are being forced to, quote unquote, shelter in place or self-quarantine, social distancing, all this, that, and the third. Restaurants being shut down, bars being shut down, schools being shut down. People's places of employment are being shut down. No more new sporting events. The economy is taking a big time hit. People cannot work. They cannot go out there and make money by mandate of local government and also by the suggestion of the federal government. So something's got to give. Either we go back to work and start making money again, get our jobs back that many of us have been fired from, or we do some kind of stimulus package that gives Americans and industry, we'll get to that in a minute, some kind of way to hold on and take care of ourselves in the meantime. Not everyone's affected. I'll be fine. I'm not in a bad situation, but a lot of Americans are in a bad situation, so something's got to give. Democrats and Republicans in the Senate negotiated on the bill in a bipartisan way to the tune of $1.8 trillion. Now, just to put it in context so you understand how much money that is, you're talking about $1,000 million. That's $1 billion. So 1.8 trillion, you're talking about 2,000 billion, 800 million. That's a lot of money. We're talking about cash payments to individual citizens. I think 1,200 for individuals, 2,400 for married couples, and $500 for each child. I'm seeing some things about if you are at a certain level where you are not paying income tax, your money will be less, but I'm not sure if that's true or false. Either way, generally, you would get $1,200 in a check for at least 2 months as an individual, $2,400 for married couples, and $500 for kids. Now, there's also some things in there to help industry. I think the airline industry is getting a $50 billion bailout as part of this package. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But that's in there. Now, this was, like I said, a bipartisan thing. Democrats and Republicans in the Senate were able to come to the table and agree on the terms that are in the bill. And if there were any need for last minute changes to the specific legalese in it, there was time in there to debate that.
You think it'll be wrapped up by Monday?
Well, I hope it is. We're having good bipartisan agreements. The initial bill Leader McConnell put in didn't have any Democratic input, and we were worried they would just try to put it on the floor and not consult Speaker Pelosi, because the House still has to pass this. But actually, to my delight and surprise, there has been a great deal of bipartisan cooperation thus far.
Yeah, even the president was speaking very positively about you, and
that doesn't happen very often.
Even Speaker Pelosi.
The Republicans have the majority in the Senate, although 5 of us on the right are at home right now because of coronavirus. Like Rand Paul actually has coronavirus, or maybe they're just sheltering in place, self-quarantining, whatever you want to call it, because they may have been exposed. That does not really matter that they were away from D.C. and couldn't vote, because you got to have 60 votes to pass it forward. So right now, there's 47 Democrats in the Senate, 53 Republicans. You would have needed to have all the Republicans vote plus at least 7 Democrats for the bill to go forward. But unfortunately, although this was negotiated Democrat, Republican at the same time, to push it forward, it fell on partisan lines. All Democrats, everybody in the Senate voted against the bill. Now, the reason why this happened after the Democrats and Republicans negotiated on it together is because Nancy Pelosi flew in on her broomstick from California, went to DC and said, hey, this ain't really going to work out. We're going to draw up our own plan. You got money in there for corporate bailouts. You're not giving enough to the American people, all this, that, and the third. Now, as far as the industries that need help, I'm not sure what Nancy Pelosi's plan is, because the bailout to the airline industry is needed. They're suffering very badly. And it's not like you're just giving money to a corporation, some kind of nameless, faceless entity. It's not like that. The airline industry has employees, and the entire industry has ancillary business that operates off of it. So you got the pilots, you have the flight attendants, you have all of those that work on the plane, you have everybody that works in the airport. Atlanta Airport, Hartsfield Jackson, like a big city in there, basically. All kind of shops, all kind of stores. Everybody in the airport is dependent upon the airline industry working, getting people in the airport buying stuff. Okay. And then you have the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, Uber, Lyft, cab, train, bus, all of that. All of those industries rely upon the airline industry functioning properly. And if they can't function properly, or if they go out of business, will they be able to come back from that? If they got to file bankruptcy, can they come back, can continue business after this whole thing is over? I'm not really sure they can. So you're talking about permanent damage that can be done if something is not happening right now. Either, like I said, we go back to normal and have the economy get jump started again by people participating in it, or we give some kind of stopgap measure in the meantime while we're being required or strongly advised to not travel, to not go anywhere, to not do anything, to not go to work, to not go to school, to not travel abroad, to not travel to another city and go to an event. Okay. Industries must be helped because the industries employ people. The Democrats are saying that they want to have more money go to the citizens as far as a check is concerned, for as long as the whole thing lasts. So it could last until August. They're trying to give American individuals $2,000 and then $1,000 for the kids with an indefinite time as far as how long it's going to last. That's a decent amount of money, but is it a lot of money? If industries don't get saved and they go out of business permanently, or at least some of the industry, the unemployment rate will be very high. And then when that money runs out that they're getting as far as this whole corona situation, people will be left with a worse situation than what they had before this whole thing started. The purpose of the money is to give temporary aid. It's not to replace people's jobs. That's just not what it is. Jobs got to come back. People got to come back into the workforce. The money that they're going to get right now is to help them just bridge the gap. If there's no job to return to, then it doesn't make a difference how much money you give them. They're still going to be broke. They might be able to pay their bills right now, but they'll be right back in the same situation they were before they got the money when the whole thing is over with, because they have no job to return to. We're not trying to see unemployment get to like 20%. We were at historic lows before this whole crisis happened. People are trying to blame Trump. They're trying to blame Republicans. I'm seeing some nasty things on Twitter. People talking about, I'm glad Rand Paul got it, this, that, and the third. This is really ridiculous. This is not a time to be partisan at all. We need to be focusing on how can we get Americans back to work. Number one, that's my main thing. If it were up to me, if I could be a king and rule by fiat, I say everybody go back to work right now. Wash your hands, wear a face mask, but go back to work, because you got to be able to make money. You got to keep this whole thing moving. And like I said, we don't want a situation where businesses are shut down permanently, where they can't come back, where they're bankrupt, where they're firing all their staff and just, liquidate their assets and go move somewhere else. We don't want that to be the case. We want industry to keep going, people to stay employed, and that's just what it is. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Nancy Pelosi is ridiculous for playing these political games? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or is she doing the right thing, holding the bill up to the tune of 1.8 trillion because she wants even more money to go to individuals and none to the industry, or maybe less to the industry? I don't understand how that makes any sense. To those that don't really understand business and the way that the economy works, it may make sense because you're thinking, okay, I want to get the money as an individual. I'm a little guy on a totem pole. What about these big multinational corporations? They got plenty of money. People don't really understand what they're saying when they say things like that, because when these big businesses go out of business, where are you going to be able to work? Okay, the money they're getting right now was okay for a stopgap measure. But you got people that got kids, elderly, they got sicknesses, they got to take care of themselves. They got to work. Okay, what's the median income? Like 50,000 in America, maybe a little less than that. $1,000 or $2,000 for 2 months is not going to get anywhere close to that. You got to have businesses still be intact. You got to have the economy still be intact. Even if you keep your job and you're not necessarily directly affected by the job loss of others, you can be affected in different ways. Costs of goods, services will go through the roof because there's not enough supply due to a lower workforce. Okay, you want to go to a basketball game, football game, restaurant. Well, what are you going to do when you can't because they're closed down, or because, you know, it's a lot of other things that happen to a society when people are out of work to a large extent. 10% unemployment, 20% unemployment causes big time social change. Things are more dangerous. People are less unified. It's not a good place for you to be. So as I close, I want to say this. Hopefully we get back to normal ASAP. I don't want to see any kind of civil unrest. And Nancy Pelosi and her hand puppet Chuck Schumer need to get it together and understand that this is not a partisan issue. Don't be trying to put abortion stuff in there. Let's get this bill passed for the American people, or lift the restrictions, tell everybody go back to work. That's your two choices. Nothing else will be acceptable. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.